Welcome to the show. Today, we're diving into that bold clip featuring Tucker Carlson, where he declares, "Calling me names is not gonna stop me." And, he takes aim at critiques around his takes on Ted Cruz, Trump, Israel, and even 9/11.
Yeah, it's a loaded discussion, isn't it? Tucker is really challenging the conventional narratives, especially on 9/11, and stirring up plenty of controversy.
Exactly. He's using his platform to question what he calls the so-called cock-up versus conspiracy theories surrounding 9/11. He
Yep.
insists on digging deeper into how trust, or the lack thereof, in institutions is shaping political discourse today.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because he's not just tackling one issue, he's connecting dots between distrust in experts and, how it impacts opinions on Israel and even Donald Trump's actions, like the whole bomb Iran thing.
Right. It's like his narrative suggests that the traditional right left split is being overshadowed by this new divide about trusting our institutions versus believing in some secretive cabal, what he refers to as the deep state or a swamp.
Yeah. And he brings in Ted Cruz too, doesn't he? Challenging what others say about him and positioning himself as someone impervious to the name calling.
Absolutely. He is basically saying that slurs or derogatory labels won't slow him down, a sort of defiant statement against the criticism he's gotten for his views. And then there's his documentary series, promising to reveal what really happened on 9/11.
That part really gets people fired up because it questions the mainstream narrative about the deadliest terrorist attack in the US. It's a huge claim, and it seems designed to resonate with those already skeptical of official accounts.
Exactly. And what's compelling is how he ties that into what he sees as a broader effort by the government to, control what Americans know about the truth.
Right. It's like he's saying, hey, there's more going on here than meets the eye. But what do you think about his approach? I mean, sometimes it seems to me like he's more theatrical than analytical.
Well, that's an interesting point. I mean, sure, his presentation is very theatrical, defiantly so. But then, his appeal is precisely to those who feel alienated by conventional media narratives. It's almost like he's rallying this base that cares more
True.
about questioning established truths.
Yeah, although I do wonder if that theatrical style sometimes undermines the actual merits of his arguments. You know what I mean? It might cast too big a shadow of sensationalism over topics that deserve more methodical debate.
That's a fair critique. It's like, while his confrontational tone grabs attention, it might also polarize listeners rather than inviting a calm, balanced discussion on issues like 9/11.
Yeah. And then there's the whole discussion about whether his documentary dispels anti Semitic conspiracies or exacerbates them. The video description hints at the complexity of that debate.
Exactly. He teases the idea that once the full truth is revealed, some of the conspiracy narratives might fall apart, but others might take on new forms, especially in debates about Israel.
Speaking of Israel, his commentary on whether Israel is a terrorist state or not really stirs up more controversy. The conversation certainly forces viewers to, re examine their assumptions.
Right, he's playing with provocative ideas here. Tucker seems intent on challenging both his critics and supporters by pushing the boundaries of acceptable discourse, especially in such a volatile area as Middle Eastern politics.
Yeah, and we shouldn't forget how he discusses Trump, right? There's even talk of whether Tucker ever apologized to Trump in private. That adds another layer to the whole political kinship and rivalry.
Oh, for sure. The segment on Trump's actions, especially things like bombing Iran, is particularly intriguing. Tucker brings up these actions as part of a larger pattern of behavior that challenges the traditional Republican narrative.
So, in a way, Tucker is painting this picture of a political landscape where not just ideology but trust in institutions defines alliances. It's a kind of trust-based politics that cuts across conventional divisions.
Exactly. And it's compelling because it shifts the focus. Like, instead of arguing purely on economic or social policies, it's about whether folks believe the government, the media, or the experts.
Yeah, but one could argue that this emphasis on distrust might just fuel more extreme viewpoints. I mean, don't you think that sometimes questioning everything without nuance might lead to, well, a spiral of cynicism?
That's a good point, honestly. There's a risk that by insisting on these alternative narratives, it could further polarize opinions. It's like a double-edged sword, fueling debate on one hand, but potentially making constructive conversations a lot tougher on the other.
True. And then there are the layers of promotion interwoven in the video, like the ads for Birch Gold Group and Oxford Natural, which almost remind the audience that there's a commercial angle here too.
Right. It's like the content is part news, part opinion, part advertisement. It creates a sort of mixed media vibe that, on one hand, might distract from the core message, and on the other, provides funding to support the kind of unfiltered debate he's going for.
And that, commercial aspect might also influence the framing of the narrative, making it all the more sensational and tailored for, say, like a dedicated audience home online.
Exactly, it shifts the frame somewhat. The commercial breaks serve not only as breaks in the narrative, but as reinforcement of the underlying message of distrust. It's like each interruption reminds you that money and power are intertwined in these debates.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think about the broader implications. Like if the media is becoming so entangled with commercial interests, can we really trust any of the perspectives we're getting?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's like this whole conversation about truth and trust isn't just confined to political debates. It spills over into how we consume all kinds of media.
Absolutely. And it's interesting how Tucker's style, his outright dismissal of name-calling, ties into that. He's essentially saying that his narrative is immune to, the typical smear campaigns.
And that defiance is part of his appeal. He positions himself as a fighter against what he sees as an entrenched system of misinformation, whether it's about 9/11, Israel, or even Trump.
Yeah, though one might respectfully challenge that, arguing that this defiance sometimes oversimplifies very nuanced topics for the sake of dramatic effect.
True, that's a fair critique. There's always a tension between simplicity and complexity in media debates. While his approach certainly rallies a segment of the audience, it might also gloss over important details and historical contexts.
Yep. And now that we're talking about context, his stance on 9/11 is quite a departure from the established narrative. He seems to suggest that the full truth has been deliberately obscured by the authorities.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so incendiary. He's challenging decades of accepted history by saying, look, there's more here than we've been told. But that leads to heated debate over what constitutes evidence versus suspicion.
And that debate is at the heart of this whole trust issue. When experts and institutions are no longer seen as reliable, every piece of evidence is up for interpretation.
Right, and it begs the question, can we restore trust once it's broken? Or are we stuck in a cycle of perpetual skepticism, especially in the political realm?
Indeed. Also, it's important to note that despite all the tough questions Tucker is raising, his rhetoric sometimes ventures into divisive territory. It's a delicate balance between challenging narratives and inadvertently reinforcing conspiracy theories.
Absolutely. It's like while his message is clear, reject simplistic dismissals of alternative viewpoints, it also can encourage a kind of tribal mentality where any dissent from the established narrative is treated as proof of corruption.
Yeah. So, in wrapping up, it seems Tucker Carlson's clip is as much about challenging the established narratives on 9/11, Israel, and Trump as it is about signaling his defiance to anyone who calls him names. It's a bold, provocative stance that continues to, stir controversy.
Exactly. And whether you agree with him or not, the way he forces us to confront these issues of trust and media representation is something that really merits deeper discussion.
Absolutely. It certainly leaves us, thinking about how the politics of trust shape not just opinions on history, but the future of our media and political engagement.
And that's the beauty and the danger of such debates. They push the envelope on what's accepted and challenge us to question even the most established facts.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks for the deep dive today. It's been a fascinating ride through a very provocative piece of content.
My pleasure. Till next time, keep questioning and stay curious.